April 4, 1968. A single gunshot echoed across Memphis, Tennessee, and in that moment, America lost not just a man, but a dream. This is the story of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., and how his death forever changed the soul of a nation. By 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. had become the face of the civil rights movement, a preacher who challenged an empire with nothing but words, courage, and love. From Montgomery to Selma, from Birmingham to Washington, D.C., he led millions in the fight for equality through peaceful protest. But as his influence grew, so did the resistance and the hatred. In early April 1968, King traveled to Memphis to support striking sanitation workers, black men demanding fair pay and dignity. The night before his death, he spoke at Mason Temple. Despite exhaustion and threats, his words carried an eerie sense of destiny. "I've been to the mountaintop, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but we, as a people, will get to the promised land." It would be his final speech. The next evening, April 4th. Dr. King stepped out onto the balcony of the Lorraine Motel, laughing with friends, preparing to head to dinner. At 6:01 p.m., a single shot rang out. The bullet struck him in the jaw, shattering his spine. He collapsed instantly. Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. was rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital, but at 7:05 p.m. he was pronounced dead. He was just 39 years old. News spread like wildfire. Across America, grief turned to anger. Over 100 cities erupted in riots. President Lyndon B. Johnson declared a national day of mourning. Tens of thousands marched in silence behind King S.'s casket in Atlanta, his mule-drawn carriage carrying the weight of a broken dream. But through the sorrow, his message endured. Nonviolence, justice, love, even in the face of hate. The man accused of pulling the trigger was James Earl Ray, an escaped convict and drifter. He was captured 2 months later in London. Ray pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty, but soon recanted, claiming he was part of a larger conspiracy. To this day, questions remain about whether he acted alone. More than half a century later, the echo of that single shot still haunts America. But Martin Luther King, Jr.'s dream did not die on that balcony. It lives on, in classrooms, in marches, in every voice that dares to speak truth to power. Dr. King once said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." And even through tragedy, his life reminds us that the dream is still alive. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to keep the legacy of Dr. King alive for generations to come.